Meanwhile, in Pennsylvania, it has been a few days since Mandy, Caitlin, and Dominique had left Beverly Hills, and they were on their way to Silent Hill. They were driving on a deserted road in Pennsylvania. While they were driving, Mandy and her friends saw a gray SUV. As they drove by, not caring to stop if anyone was in the SUV, they continued down the road. "We're here at Silent Hill," Mandy said. "It looks freaky for a place on the brochure. Are you sure this is the place?" Dominique asked. "You said this was the place," Caitlin replied to her friend's question. "It's probably because it says 10 o'clock at night, so we'll see if we can find a hotel to stay in. There's gotta be one around here somewhere," Mandy said to her friends. "While I drive around Silent Hill, look for a hotel. Looking for a hotel, you girls. You girls can point out the one you see." As Mandy drove around Silent Hill for a good 5 minutes, and they haven't found a hotel yet. 5 minutes turned to 10, then 15, and eventually into 20. They've been looking for a hotel for a half an hour, and so far they had no luck. "Where is a hotel? Doesn't this town have one somewhere?" Mandy sighed in frustration. "I'm sure there is one. Oh, look over there!" Caitlin pointed out to her right. Mandy and Dominique turned to see a hotel. "Nice look, Caitlin. It looks like an abandoned hotel," Mandy said to Caitlin. "Why does it look so abandoned?" Dominique asked. "Maybe it's just an old hotel," Mandy said. "Let's see if we can find another one." "But Mandy, we've been driving around for a half an hour, and we haven't found anything better than this. Let's just stay here for now," Caitlin complained. "Yeah, I know. You're more of a luxury person, but this will have to do for now," Dominique said, agreeing with Caitlin. "Alright, fine. At least we're not with those losers back at Bev Hills," Mandy grumbled, parking her car where her friends' cars were. At the front of the abandoned hotel, it was called Lincoln's Hotel. It was different when Mandy and her friends walked inside. It was dead quiet. That's odd. There's no staff or anyone staying here," Caitlin said. "Yeah, it looks vacant," Dominique added. "This means no bossy staff. This means it's all ours," Mandy cheered with joy. Then she, along with her friends, headed back to their cars, unloaded them by bringing their bags into the hotel. They found a room with 3 beds, and it was a decent-sized room. It looked clean enough for something abandoned and old. "There's no electricity here. Our chargers for our phones don't work," Caitlin said. That's odd. Maybe the power is out or something." "See what the water in the bathroom is like," Mandy suggested. "The bathroom is disgusting. Ugh. The floors and the walls are covered in green gunk," Dominique said in disgust. "What? That's disgusting. We need a different hotel," Mandy stated. "I could go find one, hopefully with staff and power," Dominique suggested. "I'll be back in a couple minutes." As Dominique left the hotel room, she headed down the stairs and out of Lincoln's Hotel. Dominique walked down the street to her right, where she could see one of the buildings of Silent Hill had power. This confused her. If the power was out in Silent Hill, why would one of the buildings have power? Unless someone was using a power generator, which was most likely strange, seeing that Silent Hill was dead quiet. "Hello? Anyone here?" Dominique called out, but to no avail. She walked towards the building with the power on. It looked like a school for elementary students. When she got closer, she heard a laugh of a child. She turned around to find the source of the sound, but she couldn't find the child who made that laugh. So she made inside the doors of the school. "Anyone in here?" Dominique called out as she walked inside the school, but there was no one in sight. She walked down the hallway of the school, passing by some classrooms along the way. She stopped at the kindergarten classroom and walked inside. Looked as if it was the first day of school. Someone has to be in this school, but who would be crazy enough to walk in here? Dominique then looked around and walked towards some shelves of toys. Most of them were broken and even burnt at certain parts. She then even heard the classroom door slam open with force, making her jump. "Who's there?" Dominique wondered. But then she walked outside the classroom, and this continued down the hall. Once she reached the stairway that leads upstairs to the school, there were grade 1, 2, and 3 classes. When she turned to her right, curious as if someone was in the school, but it was empty, so there was no knowing on who would be inside. Then there was a sound of someone running. and Dominique had no time to turn around to find out who was running. Because she was about to turn around, she was hit at the back of her head by a blunt weapon, knocking her out cold. Whoever knocked Dominique out cold picked her body up and took it away from the school. Not knowing about what's going on, Mandy and Caitlin were still at Lincoln's hotel, wanting their friend to return. "What is taking Dominique so long?" Caitlin groaned, impatient. "Maybe she's gotten lost? I don't know. Silent Hill is a big place for a small town." Mandy scoffed as she played a game on her phone. "I'm starting to realize something. Silent Hill seems to be very abandoned," Caitlin said. "So that means this whole town is a ghost town." "Figures, but maybe you could go find Dominique while I game here," Mandy suggested. "I'll go and find her. I sure hope Dominique found a hotel with power, staff, and clean bathrooms," Caitlin said. Then headed out the door of the hotel room. Then she headed downstairs and out the door. Once Caitlin was outside, she walked down the rows of Silent Hill. There were no power in Silent Hill, but Caitlin saw a school building had power. "It's just a school powered by generators by the looks of it," Caitlin scoffed as she passed by the school. Then she looked to see a trail of blood on the ground. Feeling a bit nervous and confused by this, she followed the trail of blood. When the trail of blood led to the door and at the old house, she knocked on the door, but there was no answer. Caitlin waited for a few minutes, but just as she turned around to head back, a nurse showed up. She was a scary-looking monster, and Caitlin was scared by her appearance. So she backed up the stairs when she slipped on the stairs by a puddle, causing her to hit her head on the ground. The impact of the fall on her head knocked her out cold. The nurse picked up Caitlin and took her into the house, where Terrence with his monsters were, and he held his captives hostage. Mandy was in her hotel room, tired as she just finished playing her game. She just put her phone away as she was getting ready for bed. "What's taking Caitlin and Dominique so long? I'm assuming they got lost or something. No matter, I hope they return as I sleep." Mandy got under the covers and was about ready to go to sleep when the door was slowly opening up, confusing her at first. Mandy looked to see if anyone was at the door. "Caitlin? Dominique? You girls here?" Mandy asked, but there was no response. Mandy was horrified about who was behind the door, and there were no voices on the other side. Mandy got up to use the bathroom. While she was there, she saw a pyramid head in the mirror. He was standing behind her, holding a baseball bat. Mandy screamed in terror as she turned to run, but the pyramid head blocked her path. Terrence then stood behind the pyramid head, smiling evilly as he knocked Mandy out with the baseball bat. "Good work, Pyramid Head. Take her to my house into the basement lair," Terrence ordered. "You got it," he said. He then carried Mandy's body from Lincoln's hotel and into Terrence's house in the basement of the lair. Back at Beverly Hills, the spies were back at their penthouse from the Groove. They were asking some people around about the Silent Hill brochure, and they've asked about 35 people about it. They did find some brochures while searching various areas where the brochures were, so they kept them for analysis. "Well, we've asked about 35 people, and they got the Silent Hill brochure, and it turns out there's 30 out of them," Sam said, counting the brochures that she along with Alex and Clover have collected. "So those who got the brochure must have headed for Silent Hill. Now that's how people are going missing. But where would they be in Silent Hill?" Clover questioned. "That's all the people that have in common with these brochures. They go missing on the day when they go," Sam answered. "That's why we have seen some missing people posters on our way back," Alex stated. "So we'll have to head down to Silent Hill to find them," Sam said in agreement. Then she got her X-Powder out to call Jerry. "Jerry, we found something about the brochure so far. The people who go to Silent Hill go missing for some reason, but there's no reason as to why they're going missing. That seems to be strange. The brochure and description seems to be so innocent and promising," Jerry said. "Let me have a look." Jerry did some research on his computer, and what he saw was disturbing. "There's some disturbing and very freaky. Silent Hill appears to be an abandoned town in Pennsylvania." "Where is that in Pennsylvania?" Sam asked. "Silent Hill is located in central Pennsylvania. You might want to head over there, but I would take caution while entering there. There have been reports of people seeing monsters, shadowy figures, and even screaming from people," Jerry warned. "Thanks, Jer. We'll take that caution." Sam replied. So we're going there? Alex asked. Looks like it, Sam replied. Well, in that case, if Mandy and her friends were there, let's leave them there, Alex suggested as she tried to walk away, not without Clover holding her back. We're not walking away from this one, Alex. Mandy and her friends could be in danger there. Even though we don't like Mandy or her friends, wishing death on them isn't an option, Clover said. Clover's right. We're doing this mission, Sam added. She grabbed her things. We gotta get ready, girls. There will be a fight that we'll never forget. Sam, Clover, and Alex eventually got ready and got their plane ready to fly to Silent Hill, as they made sure to have everything ready to go. Once they were ready, they got on their plane and they flew off to Central Pennsylvania. However, back at Silent Hill, Mandy woke up hours later, not remembering what happened or what hit her head. She then looked up to see that she was in a cage with Caitlin and Dominique in separate cages. What happened? Where am I? Mandy then heard Caitlin groan as she awoke. Mandy? What's going on? Why are we in cages? I don't know. Why are you in cages? Mandy questioned. I was gonna ask. Help! Get us out of here! Dominique screamed out loud, but there was no response. What the hell is this Silent Hill place? This isn't what I have imagined it would be, Mandy said. Then a man walked into the room. Well then, I can see that you three are awake, Terrence said, looking at Mandy and her friends. Caitlin was frightened and was in tears, same with Dominique, but Mandy was screaming and yelling, demanding to be let out. I'm sure you three are confused right now. Well, I expected that from you all. Just what do you think why you captured us? Mandy demanded. Because I can, and I have, so there's nothing you can do about it, Terrence scoffed. Don't you three ever think of trying to escape here? No one ever has. I'll be back in a while, then I can enjoy some fun with you all, Terrence said as he left the basement for the door. While in the plane, Sam along with Clover and Alex were reaching Central Pennsylvania. When they landed their plane in the big open field, it was a wasteland with fog surrounding everything. Sam got out of the plane to look around. There was no one in sight. Clover and Alex also jumped out of their plane, not liking the fog around them. This is creepy. I've got a bad feeling about this, Alex stated. Yeah, I'd rather be at the Groove over this right now, Clover agreed. I don't like it one bit, but we have to find the missing people, Sam stated. Now you girls, you have to all stay close since it's foggy out here, and we don't want anyone getting lost. Let's just find the road and stick to it. As the girls walked along the field, Clover felt as if they were being watched. Sam then turned to see Clover with an expressionless look. Confusing and worrying her, Sam rushed over to her friend. You okay, Clover? Sam asked. I just feel that we're being watched out here. I just have that feeling, Clover replied. Just stay close to me, and if we see anything unusual, take care of them then, Sam suggested. Then the girls headed for the wasteland field. I am fine, Clover said. No, you're not. Something is wrong, and you just said it, Sam replied. We see it, Alex, and it must be Silent Hill. And Sam and her friends walked through the forest down a path for about a few-minute walk as they looked at the desolated road. When they got to the road, they saw a gray SUV on the side of the road, not far from where the spies were standing. It looks like no one's been here in years. There's no civilians here, Alex said, looking around the desolated wasteland. A gray SUV. Someone must have been here. Sam walked over to the SUV, checking to see if anyone was in the vehicle. How long has that SUV been parked here for? Clover asked. Well, there's no one that owns the SUV here. Alex noticed that there was no one on the road. Not sure how long this vehicle was here for. Maybe a day or so, Sam said. Then she found some stuff inside the SUV. She found some snacks, bags for the trip, money on the seats, and even a clue. I found something, Sam said. She then reached over to the passenger seat and found a cloth from a scarf. A piece of cloth. It's mostly from a scarf. So someone was here. Where do you suppose they went? Alex asked while she and Clover examined the piece of cloth. Probably right where we were standing. Sam then pointed out a sign that stood about a few feet away from them. "Welcome to Silent Hill. It looks innocent enough," Clover said, while looking at the sign with Alex. "Yeah, but isn't this town a little too quiet?" Alex added. "Looks like Silent Hill is a ghost town. Come on, girls, let's head down there," Sam instructed as Alex and Clover headed down towards Silent Hill. They passed by the sign as they walked down the road. Fog surrounding them was starting to fade away, allowing the spies to see better. In the distance, a monster was watching the spies from afar. It was a scraper, and he was spying for Terrence, who had plans for them. He then moved out of sight just as Sam turned around. Sam was realizing that Clover said was right. They may be being watched by someone or something. While the spies continued down the street, they found a brochure to Silent Hill on the ground. It was soggy from the brochure being wet, and possibly from rain, but it was mostly either been thrown out or carried by the wind. "Another of these brochures? Really weird," Clover said. "Now this is starting to make sense. These brochures that people were getting from Bev Hills are in this town." "Clover's right. It all makes sense now," Alex said. Just as she stepped forward, a needler jumped out of nowhere, making the spies jump in fear. Sam felt her heart skip a beat. Alex saw what the monster had. It was a humanoid with a masculine torso, very synonymous with the normal human. But the only thing different is that its arms and legs were replaced with very sharp blades, using them to attack. "What the hell's that thing?" Clover shrieked. "And where did it come from?" Alex joined in. "I don't know, but we gotta find something to kill it with," Sam instructed. The spies had to keep their distance from the monster that they had encountered. Clover saw that there was a shotgun on the ground by a fallen tree, so she headed over to the fallen tree to retrieve the shotgun. "I found a shotgun. It might be useful," Clover stated. Then she realized that there was no ammo. "Ah, crap, where are the shells?" Clover muttered as she felt the ground for the shotgun shells. "Clover, hurry up! This monster's chasing my ass!" Sam shouted as the needler was chasing Sam. Alex looked to see shotgun shells scattered near the old mailbox. Just as Sam tripped over onto the road, the needler used his right blade to swipe at Sam. Luckily it missed her, as Sam was now fearing for her life against the monster. Alex ran over to Clover with the shotgun shells, so she loaded the gun. "We found ammo for the shotgun, so we'll be safe there," Alex called. "Hang in there, Sam," Alex called her. "You gotta shoot this thing quick. He's gonna tear me apart." Sam grunted as she used a pipe that she grabbed from her left side to block the monster's attacks. Just as Clover ran up to the needler, she fired a shot at the needler, knocking him out to his side off of Sam. The monster stumbled onto its side as Clover shot right through its body, causing blood and ooze from it. Clover then finished off the needler, and of course the needler was dead once she finished him off. "You okay, Sam?" Alex then asked her from. "Yeah, that thing scared the crap out of me," Sam replied as Alex helped her up. "We gotta be careful, girls. There must be monsters in Silent Hill." "No kidding. If there's a monster out in Silent Hill, then there's probably more of them," Clover stated as she handed Sam the shotgun. "Well, we gotta keep the shotgun with us. There's mostly more monsters in here than we fought," Sam said. Then she looked up to see a few more cars parked on the side of the road. "More cars parked here. These cars must belong to the people that are going missing." "I was just going to say these cars might have some clues inside," Alex replied. "Let's just search these cars for anything we can use, so look for some clues as well," Sam instructed as she, Alex, and Clover began to search inside the cars. As they were searching inside the cars, Clover found a ring of keys inside. "Hey, Sam and Alex, I found a huge ring of keys attached to it," Clover pointed out, catching Sam and Alex's attention. "Who would leave a ring with a whole bunch of keys in here?" Alex asked. "Someone or something dropped them. These keys must be useful," Sam replied as she took a hold of the keys. "Now I think we're so close to the entrance of Silent Hill, but where should we start looking first?" "I found a map inside a blue car. It must be a map of Silent Hill," Alex said as she handed Sam the map of Silent Hill. "This is a map of the place, Alex, but boy, does this place look a lot bigger than what the map says," Sam stated while looking at the map. "It looks like a big town. So much for being a vacation destination," Clover said. There's a church on the right of us when we enter Silent Hill. Well, let's check inside of that church, Sam instructed as the girls headed inside Silent Hill, preparing for what was going to happen next.